Well, we've known what the schedule is for a little while now, but which games on BYU's schedule are the toughest, specifically within the Big 12? We narrowed this down because we figure if you're going to do a list, and everybody loves a list these days.
We do love lists.
We do love lists. We figured that most people would put the non-conference games down, towards the end, 10, 11, 12. So we sort of eliminated the non-conference games, just focusing on the conference games. And what we're doing is which ones we think are the easiest, which ones we think are the hardest. And so, Dave, let us reveal your list, and we are starting with number one being the hardest game.
With Kansas State and Iowa State starting practice today for the new season, that's how close we are. So here comes my list. Number one, I've got Utah as the most difficult. Why the Utes? There's just so much riding on this. BYU's taken over recruiting. They're dwarfing them in fundraising. All the advantages Utah had as a member of the Pac-12 when BYU was an independent, the Cougars have wiped out in 2 years. They've also won the last two. So the Utes are bringing everything down here. Yeah. There's more than just a football game on the line in October, and that's why I've got that as the toughest. Just everything tied into it. BYU's a better football team, I believe, but once you throw everything else in, that's just a tough night. And then we go I think on the road is just a tough place. So I've got a run of road games. At Texas Tech, hadn't been there since I think the 50s. At Iowa State, we know Iowa State is supposed to be pretty good. We're going to watch them on August 23rd against Kansas State over in Ireland. I think the Colorado game, I've got them at number 4. That's just going to be bananas. Yeah. And whoever the quarterback is, that's going to be his first real intense moment. So I've got them at 4. Arizona on the road. Again, on the road, I think that moves it up a little bit. TCU, West Virginia, UCF, all those teams could beat BYU. BYU could beat all those teams. And then Cincinnati there at the bottom. I feel bad for the Bearcats at the bottom because that's a road game. But when you stack it all up, that's my list from toughest to easiest, and for the lack of a better word, there are no easy games.
Correct.
In the Big 12.
Yeah.
But I'm starting with Utah as the toughest. What do you got?
Yeah, so I'm pleased and also a little surprised that we did not have more similarities in our list. We very
you're a Cardinals fan.
Well,
and I'm a Cubs fan. It can't
and again,
be
I appreciate the no texts over the last couple of weeks because things have not gone well in our head-to-head matchups.
It's a long season.
But our rankings are quite different.
Yeah.
And I think that's actually kind of exciting because I did not have Utah number 1. In fact, I actually have Utah number 3 on my list.
Did I not convince you to move it up?
You did not. And some of this may just be principle and not wanting to give them, any satisfaction.
All right, because it's a personal list.
But in all honesty, I really don't believe it is. I actually believe they are the third toughest game on the schedule. And I start on the road. I start at Iowa State. I believe that is BYU's toughest game of the season. You're going to a place that's very difficult to play. Iowa State's going to be good. You have Rocco Beck back as your quarterback. We know what type of, even though he's lost his top 2 receivers to the NFL, this is a guy that can cause some problems. So for me, Iowa State on the road is the toughest game on BYU's schedule. I'm like you, though. I stay out on the road. Going to Texas Tech, a place BYU hasn't played in a while, we know the type of money that Texas Tech has invested into this program.
If you're looking for a toy department, they got all the new stuff.
Now, that doesn't always mean that you have results to the level that you wanted, but they have certainly given their football program every benefit possible in terms of talent and monetary evaluations to be able to funnel into the program.
Listen, money can't buy you happiness, but you can get a left tackle.
You can certainly get a left tackle. So I went at Iowa State, at Texas Tech to start things off. Then I have Utah. For most of the reasons that you mentioned, I've got them. And even though it is a home game, you just never know. How many times do we talk about how close these games are and they come down to the final play? I think we just expect that's the way these games are going to go. So I have it at number 3. Then I have TCU. And TCU to me is a little bit of an enigma in this conference. I don't really know what to expect, but I know what type of offensive power they can bring. Yeah. Their quarterback, Hoover, can sling it. And so I've got them at number 4. I've got at Colorado at number 5, then home for West Virginia, and then at Arizona. At Cincinnati, I do not have as the quote-unquote easiest. I have UCF at home.
Okay. Yeah,
Final regular season game,
cold.
and you've got a team from Orlando coming across the country in late November to play BYU at home. Good luck, Knights.
Here's why I'm optimistic about these two lists, is that BYU has one of the top defenses in the league, if not the best, and defense travels. And so on the road are super tough. At home, we saw last year, it's super tough. You can lose at home. Kansas came in and beat BYU. Yeah. But the defense gives you a chance to win in any of these venues. And so when we go toughest to easiest in a league where there really isn't any easy ones, and there are a whole lot of tough ones, the fact that you've got the defense and the best kicker in the league is going to keep you in every one of those games. And that's why I think, in general, BYU fans are optimistic, even though they don't know who the quarterback is.
Right. Well, and you look at us doing this list now, and let's go back in time, get back in the DeLorean and head back a year ago when we were looking at the schedule, and you would have thought, okay, well, BYU's really going to struggle against K-State.
How are they going to get to 6 wins?
Yeah, like, oh, the game at Arizona State, well, they're picked last in the conference.
That's a win.
Yeah, so it really is, you just sort of throw it up in the air and you hope that you're right where everything lands.
Yeah.
But yeah, look, I agree with you. Even though we look at some of these and go, okay, well, that's a win, you still have to go out and perform on the field.
Still going Utah toughest, because that's also the most emotional.
I have them as the toughest home game.
Yeah.
Does that count for something?
That counts for third on your list.
Yes, third on my list.
ESPN college football writers named a player that they believe is the X factor. We'll call it the Y factor because we can pivot on this show. The X factor for teams in their preseason top 25 rankings. They still have BYU in their top 25 based on coming out of spring. We'll see how it adjusts when the new one comes out. But for the Cougars, they list Siale Acera at linebacker as the Y factor. So who is your Y factor for 2025?
I am going to go on the offensive side of the ball, and I'm going to say Carson Ryan.
Okay.
And for a couple of reasons. I've mentioned this a couple of times. You know as well.
Right
there he is. Look, they're looking right at us. You know as well as I do, coaches do not like to single guys out very much.
Right.
But you've heard Kalani Sitake mention Carson Ryan's name quite a bit this year. That lets me know how highly he thinks of him. And we're at the time of the year where we're all wondering what type of role the tight ends are going to have. I think we all expect there to be more tight end production this year. And so I think that zeroes in right at Carson Ryan. They brought him in from Utah to be a playmaker. And I think he, along with Chase Roberts, that when you're in a pinch and you need that one catch to keep that drive going, I think those are the guys that whoever the quarterback is going to be looking at. So for me, and the production that I hope and expect out of the tight ends, I'm going with Carson Ryan as my X/Y factor.
It'll be interesting to see how he's used by the new quarterbacks, because a tight end is your get-out-of-jail-free guy. It can be your best friend. And as you look back at this history of BYU tight ends, some that have put up massive numbers, they were still, if Trouble Max is going, where's Dennis? And John and Ty and Steve and Jim, you just go back to it. They always knew where their tight end was.
Right.
And the receivers were good too, but it was like, I've got to have on the play in the Holiday Bowl where BYU went back on the field where Jim didn't want to punt, he threw a 6-yard pass to Clay Brown for a first down. And then later was the Hail Mary. But none of that happens without a 6-yard pass to Clay Brown. The tight ends are the best friends of the quarterback.
Well, and we really have not seen them utilize the way that we historically have, really since Isaac Rex's freshman season.
Yeah, before Isaac got hurt, we had a tight end, and ever since then, that position has been, like a watered-down soda. Yeah. It's still out there, but it doesn't have the. And I agree with you. They believe that number 20 here can bring that back.
Okay, so who is your X?
I'm going to the other side of the ball, and I'm going to go with Tanner Wall, the safety, the quarterback of the defense. The quarterback of the best defense in the league, at least statistically, and the best defense from last year. So his job is to make sure the trains run on time. You over here, right? We changed this call. He's the quarterback back there, and he's primed for a big year. Last year, his group on defense, had 22 interceptions. The most in the country, tied with Texas, after the bowl season. And then they came up with fumbles, some took back for touchdowns. Prassis, we'll never forget that one against Kansas State. The defense was solid, 19.6 points a game. They put pressure on the quarterback. They wreak havoc. And part of Jay Hill's strategy is to wreak havoc and chaos. And then you got the guys in the secondary waiting for the bad passes from a quarterback who has lost his mind. And that's Tanner Wall. And Tanner Wall, I think, is the Y factor this year. It's easy to say Jack Kelly or Glasgow or Tanavasa or whatever. But who's the cog that's really going to make it go? I'm going all the way back to the safety spot.
Yeah, I like that pick. I'm a huge fan of Tanner Wall. I like it. I like it. Certainly love him on the field, but I like him as a person. He's great to talk to. He actually, if you want to hear a conversation with Tanner, he's going to guest on the Deep Blue podcast that I do.
That header right there, Stonewall.
He's fantastic. And look, there's going to be, because you lost some corners there. The fact that you do have a little bit more stability and continuity at the safety position, I think that can help out that situation. But I do like that pick. I want to go back to how we started this conversation, because as we mentioned, as you read, the ESPN College Football writers named Siale Esera as their pick for the X Factor. What do you make of that?
Well, it's interesting because I think they go, hey, we know what Kelly's going to give and what Glasser's going to give, and Taggart's not there, and so here's the new guy. And so if he is at the same level of Taggart, and they believe that he will be, if not even better, then the three-headed monster is right back. And that linebacking core wreaked havoc on the Big 12 last year.
Yeah, and I think that's exactly what you're going to see. I don't expect a drop-off whatsoever at the linebacker position. You already mentioned the guys out on each side of Siale Esera. And a couple of weeks ago, Spencer and I were doing the show, and the question that we were discussing during Trending was the underrated player. And Siale Esera was Spencer's choice for the most underrated player, because he knows, certainly, like you said, you're losing Harrison Taggart, and Harrison Taggart's production was impressive. But I believe that you can get similar, if not better, production from Siale Esera in that role this season. And look, BYU, if you're a linebacker at BYU, history and tradition is on your side that you're going to play well. They have just figured out how to get linebackers into this program that are absolute playmakers.
And it's safe to assume that Sierra was going to start ahead of Taggart anyway.
Yeah.
Was going to win that job, which may have been the reason Taggart's like, I'm going to look elsewhere. I want a guaranteed spot. So many guys want guaranteed spots.
Yeah.
So it's very realistic to assume that quarterback battle is Jay Hill doesn't promise any spots. And if Esera really is this guy coming on, he was going to come on and take that position anyway. Yeah. So he's not getting it by default. Because Taggart's out, Sierra's in. He might have been in anyway. Yeah. And that makes that linebacking group pretty solid.